Hi everybody, welcome back to the Decimal Works channel, and following our little excursion to Silverstone to go and play with the big boys, it's back to the Ducati ST2 build, and today I'm going to be fitting all of the belt hardware, so drive pulleys, the mobile tensioner, the fixed pulley, and then the camshaft pulleys, and then hopefully finally the belts, and then stick on the covers. So let me show you what we've got. Okay, so what we'll be fitting today hardware wise is the back rubber covers that go on the heads. We'll then be fitting the camshaft pulleys, the drive pulleys from the intermediate gear. We've then got the fixed pulley, brand new. Then the adjustable mobile tension pulley with new bearings in it. The belts, and then the timing belt covers will go on. I've not done any prep to the engine since we've last done any work on here, so everything today is all centered around this piece here. So it'll be going the rubber backing plates, then the camshaft pulleys, then we'll put on the drive pulleys, then we'll get on the fixed and mobile tensioners, and then we'll be sticking the belts on. Okay, so first things first, let's mount the rubber backing plates. Okay, just position rubber backing plates. Little dab of blue thread locking compound. £10 Nm. Okay, so that's both the vertical and the horizontal rubber backing plates on. What I'm going to do next is stick on both of the camshaft pulleys. It's the same for both of the pulleys, so I'll film the horizontal one and then just repeat the same action for the vertical. So special tool, and this is done up to 71 Nm. So I just used a bit of bar to pivot the pulley locking wheel, so that just feeds on so that you can grip onto the pulley, and then that's done up to 71 Nm. I'm just going to repeat that for the vertical now. Okay, so that's the vertical pulley fitted as well. What we're going to do now is build up the intermediate or drive pulley set. So you'll see there's two keys. Let me get all the bits and I'll just talk through that. In fact, let's look at that on the bench. Here's the bits that we're going to stick on the intermediate timing shaft. First, we put on one of the pulley wheels, which has got the little recess to sit against the snap ring. Then we have the spacer washer. Then we have the second wheel, but it's important that this goes on towards the engine, so you're left with this face pointing outwards. You've got the spacer washer, a washer, then the nut, and obviously the two keys just to hold everything in. So let's put that onto the shaft now. Okay, to get the final torque set in for the drive pulleys on the intermediate gear shaft, I've just stuck an old clutch case in and locked that off. That's because this will all turn against the primary gear that sits in here, so it keeps it locked so I can apply the 61 Newton meters worth of torque. Why am I doing it this way? Because normally you would have this built up before you close the engine up, so you would normally lock off your flywheel and then you would tighten this in place. I've left this because I wanted to do it as a whole piece of timing, so I'm just doing it the reverse way by putting a clutch basket in and locking that off. So let's tighten that to 61 Newton meters. Okay, and that's the handy little tip on how to do that if you ever have to replace these in service. You can get a tool that locks in around here. The challenge I have is I'm using an aftermarket socket to do this, which is quite large, and as you see there, it closes off the securing holes for, you can get a tool, get a tool like this. And you can't also use the external holding one that I was using on the camshaft pulleys because you've got the outer lip in here in place. Okay, next job is to fit the fixed rollers for the timing belt. So let's go ahead and do that. These will need a little bit of blue locking compound, thread locking compound. So these are done up to 26.5 Newton meters. That's our fixed tensioner bearing in, both of them. Just check they're good and free to turn. So just to recap on where we are with torque settings on all the stuff that's sort of fixed before we put in the mobile tensioners. 71 Newton meters, 26.5 Newton meters, 61 Newton meters. Okay, so we've just got these two mobile tensioners to fit. Let me grab the bolts for them. Okay, so we've got one M8 bolt with vibration washer for each of the tensioners, and that goes in the pivot point, and then we've got this capped dome bolt which goes in as the lock-in position. Let's just stick these both on the bike loosely for now. Okay, there you have it. We are roughly in place to be able to put the belts in. What I need to do now is turn the engine over until I get the horizontal cylinder into top dead center. So you will see there is a mark on this pulley wheel which should relate to top dead center. Okay, so the mark is lined up with the mark on the clutch case, so we should be in top dead center. Quick way to check. We just put the screwdriver in there. Let me hold this and I'll just so that is definitely top dead center. Okay, so we've now got the engine with the horizontal cylinder in top dead center, and that pulley is aligned. What I need to do now is I need to put the camshafts into their correct positions. So on the earlier engines you had these dimples that would line up with the timing mark on this cam wheel, but that's under tension. Okay. As you'll see on this later engine though, there is no dimple. Okay, and that's because we use pins to align the timing marks. So there's a little hole here and another one there, and what you'll just be able to make out in the cam wheel there is a gap, and what we're going to do is stick some pins in to align those up. So let's go ahead and do that now. you'll see that I've got the vertical one in place, and that's because this cam is always under tension. The horizontal one's slightly easier, so I can demonstrate how it does it one-handed, but effectively it's got a M5 screw thread in the rubber backing, and you'll see there that it just screws down into the cam and then locks that in place, so that everything's now aligned for me to be able to put the belts onto the engine. If you don't have these tools, you can use a 4mm drill bit, which you can push into the slot in the camshaft pulley, and it will hold it roughly in place. You just got to be careful that it can vary a little bit, so whilst it might not be as precise as that, it should get you in the rough place to be able to put the belts on. And you can, if you need to after that, then check your timing, but you should be roughly okay as long as you've got the mark lined up roughly where that hole is. And likewise that one there goes roughly into its hole. Okay, let's stick the belts on. So vertical goes on first. And then the horizontal. Okay, what we're going to do is just put a little bit of tension onto them and just nip that down. So just nipping the locking bolt down. And then take out the locking pins. Okay, so we need to check the tension on the belt. So same as on doing a 4-valve, measurement point, just tap it, and we've got 126 there at the moment. Give it a little bit of adjustment. Okay, so 106, which is within the tolerance for new belts, which is 110 plus or minus 5 hertz. Just gonna get that into a tighter position and check it again. Okay, we now need to bring the vertical cylinder up to top dead center. Now there is a little mark on the flywheel, if you can find it. Oh. Which will show us that we're now at top dead center. All right. Okay, so I just swung it backwards and forwards. We're on the mark. That's at top dead center. What we're going to do now is check the tension on the vertical belt. Same again, aiming for 110 plus or minus 5 hertz for. Okay, so that's 105 hertz. Tighten these all down to 26 Newton meters. Right, I'm going to now spin the engine over a couple of times and then we'll recheck the tensions. Okay, horizontal's okay. And we're at 105. Okay, so that was the tension checked for the vertical belt at vertical top dead center, and the horizontal belt was checked at horizontal top dead center. These will both need to be checked again after about 100 kilometers or so, or 100 miles, sorry, 160 kilometers, and that will just allow for any stretch in the belts. So I always feel slightly uncomfortable with two valve belts because they always look so much looser than four valve belts. But just to clarify where we're at then, so the mobile tensioner, 26 Newton meters to tighten those both off. Belts are set to 110 hertz plus or minus 5 hertz. So I've got this one at 106 now and this one is at 105. And you set the tension for the horizontal belt when it is at a horizontal top dead center, and you set the tension for the vertical belt when it's at vertical top dead center. But both belts are put in place when you're at horizontal top dead center. Okay, and you achieve that by locking the cams off with 2 of these locking pins. Okay, let's put the timing belt covers on, and we have finished doing the timing belts. Okay, last job is just to stick the screws in for the locating dowel cut holes and just do them up. There we go. Timing belt covers are on, and that's the last piece of today's video. We've got all of the timing system back in place now, so the intermediate gear came through, drive wheels up to the camshaft pulleys, then we got the mobile tensioner and the fixed tensioner, belts are on and the covers are on. So we're going to call that video a wrap here. So we've got the belts back in, everything's all done. We've put the belts up to 110 hertz plus or minus 5 hertz as their new belts. The mobile tensioner has been torqued down to 26 Newton meters, as has the fixed tensioner. The camshaft pulley nuts were done up to 71 Newton meters, and the intermediate timing shaft drive pulley nut was done up to 61 Newton meters, and then the covers just been done up to 10 Newton meters on the 6mm bolts. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, chuck us a like. If you've got any questions or comments, stick them down below and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that subscribe button and bell for notification of more content to come. Hopefully on the next video I'm going to drop the frame onto the engine and we're going to start building the bike back up. Okay, see you in the next video then. Cheers then, bye.